Africa 50, ambassadors, heads of diplomatic missions, senior management and staff of Africa 50, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the General Shareholder Meetings of Africa 50. We are grateful, Your Excellency, to Prime Minister, to President Paul Kagame, and the government of Rwanda that you lead, for hosting these General Shareholders Meetings of Africa 50 in this beautiful city of Kigali. It is always a delight to be back in Rwanda, a country where positive things happen. Who will not want to be back in Rwanda? A country that puts its dreadful past behind it and rose up from the ashes of genocide, powered by the resilience of its highly dedicated and committed people, led by its president, Paul Kagame, who is a pride for Africa. The rapid economic growth and development of Rwanda continues to be a source of inspiration. People say Rwanda is a miracle. Well, I do not believe Rwanda is a miracle. Miracles are things that happen without one's efforts. Rwanda is a product of vision, of astute political leadership, sound macroeconomic policies, stable political environment, robust planning, and I must say, relentless execution. Its Vision 2020 strategy is very, very clear. I love reading it on the plane. And compelling. It says, and I quote, to accelerate broad-based, sustainable economic transformation and prosperity creation in Rwanda. The use of the word prosperity shows the path of a nation that the nation is taking. Its real GDP growth reached 6.1% in 2017, 7.2% in 2018, and is estimated to get to 7.8% and 8% in 2019 and 2020, respectively. This small nation that came out of the travails of genocide has shown that with vision, clear commitment, dedication, and relentless execution of a vision, all is possible. It is, ladies and gentlemen, a testimony that countries can indeed overcome fragility. From the African Development Bank, of whom I am president, and Africa 50, of which I am chairman of the board of directors, I wish to assure you, President Kagame and Prime Minister, that the African Development Bank and Africa 50 together, we believe in your leadership, we support your vision, and will continue to provide robust support for your efforts to further accelerate the development of Rwanda. In the short time that Rwanda has been a shareholder of Africa 50, and our CEO mentioned it just moments ago, we have already built an effective partnership. We are pleased that Rwanda chose Africa 50 as its partner of choice for the groundbreaking Kigali Innovation City project. The Kigali Innovation City will be a hub for world-class innovation right in the heart of Africa. It will help to turn our young people into leading entrepreneurs and innovators who will be able to compete in the knowledge and innovation-driven global economy. Thank you, Rwanda, for leading the way. That way to prosperity in Africa is getting wider every day. The entrance into force of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement opens up a market of $3.3 trillion, the largest free trade area since the creation of the World Trade Organization. I arrived in Kigali yesterday night from Niamey, the boisterous capital city of Niger, where heads of states and governments gathered for the historic African Union Extraordinary Summit on the African Continental Free Trade Area. The pulse was upbeat. You could feel the spark of hope when President Buhari of Nigeria, the continent's largest economy, put pen to paper and signed the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the highway to a fast-paced, integrated single market for Africa simply got wider. To take full advantage of the market and investment opportunities, we must connect all countries together by roads, rail, ports, airports, ICT backbones, and energy, especially energy corridors. This will be crucial for spurring future economic growth in Africa. And the future of the African continent is getting brighter too. GDP growth rate for Africa is projected by the African Development Bank to be 4% in 2019 to 4.1% in 2020. This is a very strong momentum. From the growth rate of only 2.1% posted as recently as 2016. It is worth noting that 40% of African countries are projected to see growth of at least 5% this year, boosted in no small measure by increased pace of investments in infrastructure. And Africa will grow even more and attain double-digit GDP growth rates to unleash prosperity everywhere when it closes its annual infrastructure financing gap of $68 to $108 billion a year. This is the time for greater concerted efforts to improve the efficiency in public expenditures on infrastructure. This is the time to promote public-private partnerships on infrastructure. This is the time to leverage the huge pools of capital in sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, and other institutional investors. And this is the time to accelerate investments in the preparation of bankable projects. Today, Africa 50 is working with several partners, including national governments, project developers, and development finance institutions to develop bankable projects through the Project Development Company. It is also mobilizing private sector investments for bankable infrastructure projects through this Project Finance Company. Africa 50 is already achieving impressive results on the ground. With a shareholder capital of $871 million, Africa 50 has launched exciting infrastructure projects. In Cameroon, as Alan mentioned, Africa 50 has provided equity investment of $45.7 million in the Nachiga Hydro project that will develop 420 megawatts of power for Cameroon. The project, for which the African Development Bank is also one of the major lenders, will raise the power generation capacity of the country by 25% and avoid a whopping 1 million tons of CO2 per year. Africa 50 has invested $30 million in equity in 6 solar PV power plants in Egypt. Today, 3 of them have been connected to the grid and are delivering power to households and businesses in Egypt, one of our major shareholders. Africa 50, as Alan mentioned, has a solid pipeline of 12 infrastructure projects ranging from roads, rail, power, bridges, ports, optical fiber cables, toll roads, and transmission, including a new innovation city, not only here, but also being planned in West Africa. And Africa 50's future projects are equally exciting. Just think of the railroad bridge that will go over the Congo River, linking Brazzaville and also Kinshasa. This project, for which the African Development Bank is also a principal financier and partner, will create a crucial transportation link in the heart of Central Africa. Though a young institution, Africa 50 has rapidly grown and shown great promise through innovation, dynamism, and focused execution. It has a solid professional team in place, ably led by CEO Alan Ebobise. It is delivering impressive results. It has a strong and highly experienced board of directors, many of whom are vastly experienced in the area of infrastructure financing, and they are independent directors. Africa 50 is attracting more countries into its fold, which now stands at 27 African countries, a mark of strong and compelling confidence. And Africa 50 is on track to launch a major private sector third-party fund that will be used to leverage $1 billion into infrastructure from private sector institutional investors. Africa is ready for massive investments, and the environment to do so is getting more attractive for investors. At the Africa Investment Forum, organized by the African Development Bank in close partnership with African 50 and other partners in November of last year, we collectively mobilized $38.7 billion US of investment commitments in less than 72 hours. One such investment is the construction of the bridge that I just mentioned that will connect the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Republic of Congo, a $550 million transaction being led by Africa 50 in partnership with the African Development Bank. So, if you are an investor, don't miss the Africa Investment Forum 2019 edition to be held in Johannesburg, South Africa from 11th to 13th November of 2019. I am proud, indeed very proud, of Africa 50. I am proud of the strategic partnership between Africa 50 and the African Development Bank. I commend the management and the staff of Africa 50 for their tremendous hard work, their dedication, as well as the board of directors for their diligent oversight of the company's activities. And I applaud the investment, the trust, and the confidence of you, the shareholders of Africa 50, in the company. Africa 50 is a great investment. I encourage countries that have not yet joined Africa 50 to do so. Join us as we move towards a new future of great promise for Africa. Join us as we invest in quality infrastructure for Africa. Join us as we lay the foundation for a more prosperous Africa. Africa's best years lies just ahead. Together, let us rise up with hope and muster up courage and determination, just like Rwanda, and make our dream of an Africa fully connected with world-class infrastructure a reality. Thank you very much and welcome again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adesina.